Will Aemond become the Night King? As one of the most mysterious characters in the House of the Dragon, Aemond Targaryen, Vhagar's rider, was underestimated, but went on to become the greatest threat to all of Westeros. Hello again, and welcome to the Three-Eyed Raven. In this video, we'll discuss why Aemond Targaryen could be destined to turn into a monster, to become the Night King. Before we dive into this theory, we need to resolve an apparent contradiction. In Game of Thrones, Bran Stark has a vision in which he witnessed the emergence of the first White Walker. In this vision, the children of the forest used dragon glass to transform a human into one of the creatures of the night. Yet what is most interesting about this vision is that even though we witnessed the emergence of the first White Walkers, it is unknown if this is the Night King from Game of Thrones. According to the storyline of Game of Thrones, the children of the forest as well as the giants were the first inhabitants of Westeros. When the first men came to this part of the world, the children of the forest did not know how to repel them. The children used the weirwood trees to survey, communicate, and control Westeros. These trees are the source of their power, so the first men began cutting them down. The more weirwood trees were cut down, the more the children of the forest's strength and influence weakened. Legend has it that the children of the forest separated the continents of Westeros with a massive earthquake. Before this earthquake, the continents of Westeros and the rest of the world were connected by a land bridge. And after the quake, the bridge was destroyed, and thus came to be known as the Stepstones, the location where Daemon Targaryen would face off against the Crab Feeder. However, the earthquake did not stop the first men's advance. In their frustration, the children of the forest created the worst weapon of all, one that took advantage of death itself, and thus created the others, or the White Walkers, as they would be known in all of Westeros. The first men thereafter opted to make peace with the children, yet the lore states that the White Walkers had nothing to do with the change of heart of the first men. The children of the forest didn't even use them against the invaders. They were then kept hidden in case of future emergencies. However, the children of the forest did not realize that these creatures would also have wills of their own. That's when the first long night occurred. The weapon created by the children of the forest turned against them and attacked men and creature alike, including their creators. Horrified by what they had created, the Green Men joined forces with the humans to defeat the White Walkers. Many tales within the world of Game of Thrones attempt to describe what happened during the first long night and how it was overcome, but it all remains unclear, and the legends of the White Walkers were passed down among the Northerners for many years. Old Nan used to tell stories about the Ice Wall and the White Walkers. She recounted how Bran the Builder, with the help of the children of the forest, built the Great Wall to keep the White Walkers at bay, and how a hero named Azer Ahai sacrificed the woman he loved to defeat the darkness. For 20 years, the White Walkers, waits, and servants of the Night King swept across the land, destroying every home and every kingdom. Legends say it lasted a generation. The first long night was ultimately won when Azer Ahai defeated the first Night King. Thus, the Night King from Game of Thrones is not the first king, and won't be the last. How did we reach this conclusion? While all the legends of Azer Ahai, the hero who defeated the Long Night, speak of how he won with a sword while singing a hymn. If we compare the Long Night in Game of Thrones with the legends in the books, we understand what the key to defeating the king was. The dagger Arya Stark used to kill the Night King was a very special blade. The Targaryens had passed down the dagger from generation to generation, and its origin is unknown. We only know that it is as old as the destroyed city of Valyria. It is possible that the dagger used to destroy the Night King is a fragment of the sword Azer Ahai wielded thousands of years earlier to win the first Long Night. So if Azer Ahai defeated the Night King, how did they return? And how does this connect to Aemond Targaryen? There is one theory that could explain everything. The Night King is unique amongst all other White Walkers. He can withstand dragon fire like Daenerys, can ride dragons like the Targaryens, and can enter people's minds or have visions similar to the Starks and Targaryens. What may have happened is that when the White Walkers created the first Night King, they used a Targaryen. The combination of the Targaryen blood with the dark magic of the children of the forest created an intelligent and much more dangerous White Walker. one that carried the Targaryen madness that not even death can extinguish. The first Night King was defeated by Azor Ahai, and the White Walkers' advance was thwarted. Without a leader, the others posed no threat for thousands of years. They continued to linger in wait for a new Night King. The memory of the White Walkers kept the Night's Watch guarding the wall in case they returned, but they did not. It wasn't until after the Dance of the Dragons that signs of the White Walkers' return appeared, thanks to Daemon's visions of the creatures and Daenerys' birth. This leads us to the question, what if the Night King from Game of Thrones is not the first king, but a successor created at the finale of the Dance of the Dragons? And what if it could be Aemond? This would explain why it took the White Walkers thousands of years to return. It's not that they were planning, it's simply that they were waiting for a new leader, half White Walker and half Targaryen. In the second episode of the third season of House of the Dragon, Aemond mercilessly attacks people at Harrenhal. He is then mortally wounded and begs the witch Alice Rivers for help. She's connected to the magic of the weirwood trees, which we saw in Season 2 as being part of, or perhaps even responsible, for the visions Daemon had in Harrenhal. Alice tried to win Daemon over to her side, but Daemon wanted to join Rhaenyra. So if the witch is truly looking for a Targaryen to gain power, don't you think Aemond would be a good alternative? And what is this ultimate power? We tend to believe that in the Game of Thrones universe, dragons are the most powerful weapon, but the White Walkers might be more powerful. Those who can control the power of the White Walkers could control the world. So it's not so far-fetched to think that many ambitious individuals have tried to gain control over these creatures. A wounded Aemond, a Targaryen, who is receiving treatment from a witch, emerges as a prime candidate to become the new Night King. The visions he'll have with Alice will make him aware of the true power hidden within this world. On the other hand, we know that beyond their abilities, the Night King and the Targaryens also have physical similarities, as the Night King's armor is eerily similar to the Targaryens' garments. And if things weren't complicated enough, according to legend, Aemond and Daemon are destined to fight at the God's Eye. The battle ends when both of them loses their lives, but the books state that it is unknown what became of the siblings' remains. Some believe that their bodies were taken by the waters. Others think that they simply vanished. This is why there are theories that either Daemon or Aemond could have become the Night King. Since Daemon was empathetic towards Rhaenyra's cause, the most obvious candidate to adopt the darkness and become the Night King is Aemond. But then how would Aemond become the Night King? If Alice Rivers reveals the true nature of this war to Aemond, just as she did with Daemon, by showing him the power of the weirwood trees and the White Walkers, Aemond will realize that Vhagar is not the greatest power in the world. Rather, the greatest power lies in controlling that weapon created by the children of the forest, the White Walkers. As a child, Aemond was the only Targaryen ambitious enough to sacrifice his eye to obtain Vhagar. Perhaps he is just as ambitious to sacrifice his humanity to attain the ultimate power. If this prophecy comes true, the finale of House of the Dragon will show that Aemond flees north after his duel with his to become the Night King. What happens next? Could Aemond become the Night King? Is the Targaryen who tamed Vhagar destined to claim the ultimate power of the White Walkers? Fun theory, isn't it? Now before you go, do the three-eyed raven a favor and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.